Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. I am so happy that you are here for another video. So it is day number 2 of Vlogtober. So that means it's October 2nd, 2020. And we had a prompt from yesterday that was, where's my mummy? So we are going to be talking about movies dealing with mummies and ancient curses, hieroglyphics, things like that. So I will get to the movie recommendations here in a little bit. You probably have a pretty good idea what at least one of those movies is going to be. But I do have 2 options for you today. So we will get to movies shortly, but I do want to start this off with my music recommendation. I think that that's the way I'm going to start these from here on out, is just start with my music rec. So today's is kind of a possibly controversial one because I'm not going with a typical Halloween song. I'm not going with a, spooky, creepy song. I'm going with something that's a little bit kind of transcends that, I think. So the song I chose today is called On the Other Side, and it's by a band called the Rocket Boys. So if you know me, you know that the Rocket Boys are my absolute favorite band. I adore them. I have been enamored with them since 2005 when I first heard about them. I was on MySpace, so that tells you where we were, and I was in my senior year of college. And I was stressed and looking for something to change my life. And in walked the Rocket Boys. And I would say that my life's not been the same since because of them. So back in the day, the band was called Homer Hickam and the Rocket Boys. And I decided to listen to them because of their name. So if Homer Hickam sounds familiar to you, it's because Homer Hickam was the main character of a movie called October Sky, which is also very fitting because it's October, but October Sky is about the main character, Homer Hickam, who lives in a small coal mining town called Coalwood, West Virginia. And so it follows his trajectory from, small town kid expected to work in the coal mines for the rest of his life, but he wants something more. He wants to change his life. He wants to move out of West Virginia because it's a dying town. And so he gets an idea from one of his teachers that he should be learning how to make a rocket. So him and a group of his friends all compile together and are able to create a rocket for a science project that they end up winning and then getting scholarships to move out of Coalwood. So it's a beautiful, wonderful movie. The movie came out in 1998. And it's this movie right here. So if you've not seen it, I definitely recommend you pick it up. But it's got a young Jake Gyllenhaal, Laura Dern. It's also got Chris Cooper in it. And everybody in this movie is absolutely extraordinary. So, like I said, they came out in 1998. And my father and I watched this quite a bit. So it was already ingrained in my brain how much I really loved this movie. So when I saw the name of their band, Homer Hickam and the Rocket Boys, I went, well, I'm going to listen to it. That sounds kind of interesting. And they actually had changed the name of this, their spelling. So Homer Hickam, the person, spells his name Homer, Hickam. And the band changed it to Hiccom. I don't know if that was a copyright thing or they didn't want to get sued. I don't know how that works, but the real Homer Hickam actually heard about the band too and actually was quite a fan. So I've always thought that that was very interesting. But anyway, so initially the band was called Homer Hickam and the Rocket Boys. The name did prove to be a bit too long, so they did shorten it just to the Rocket Boys. They are based out of Texas. They started in a small town called Abilene, Texas, and then made their way to Austin to try and, get their band into the right hands. And so I'd say from 2014 or so, they've kind of been dormant because the band's kind of spread out. Brandon Kinder, their lead singer, now lives in Memphis, Tennessee. And then the 2 other main people that have been in this band throughout all the changes and amalgamations in the band are Josh Campbell and Justin Wiseman. So I believe that they're still living in Texas and Brandon's moved up to Tennessee. So I don't know when they're gonna get back together again and put out another album, but I'm ready, guys. I don't know what you're waiting for, so maybe one of these days. I know life is funny and it pulls us in different directions. I get it, but I'm still waiting, and I will be waiting for whatever you guys decide to throw our way. So anyway, I love this song. I love this band, but like I said, the pick is a bit controversial just because it's not a Halloween themed song, but I think that it has elements of, fall and Halloween because it's looking ahead to what's on the other side. What happens when we die and we move on? Where do we go? How do we feel? What are we kind of presented with? So it's basically a 5 stanza song. So the lyrics go, on the other side, I hope all is calm. On the other side, I hope all is bright. On the other side, I hope I am able. On the other side, I hope I am strong, because enough is enough. So in those 5 stanzas, you really get a good sense of where this main character in the story is coming from, where, wondering what happens next. Where do I go next? Because this is not it for me. Something more has to be coming. So I feel that way around, fall. This time of the year, Mother Nature has gone through her whole transformation, from seed to bloom to dying leaves. So we see that beautiful life cycle here in spring, summer, and fall. And then, nature lies dormant throughout the winter. And then in spring, new life emerges. But I think that it's a good pick. And it's my channel. I can do whatever I want. So how about that? So I'm going to play a little bit of the song for you so you can kind of hear it. And then we'll move on to my book pick. But let's listen to a little bit of On the Other Side. On the other side, I hope all is calm. On the other side, I hope all is bright. Okay, I'm not giving you any more. You're going to have to look them up yourself. They're available on Spotify, on Amazon Music, on whatever iTunes is now. I can't remember what they've changed that to because I'm not an iPhone person. But I'm sure that they are available on all the major streaming outlets. So check them out. The Rocket Boys. They are absolutely amazing. You won't be disappointed. So let's go ahead and move on to book. So my pick for today is a nonfiction book, and it is called The Ghost Chronicles. So it's this book here, and it was written by Ron Kolick and Maureen Wood, who live in New England, and they kind of investigate spooky paranormal happenings in and around Maine and New Hampshire and Connecticut and that kind of thing. So the book is from 2009. So 2009 is when this was published, and they kind of go to some kind of familiar and some not so familiar locations. So 2 locations I really loved that they went to was the Lizzie Borden house in Fall River, Massachusetts, and they also went and visited the Wood Island Lighthouse, and that one is over in Biddeford, Maine. Biddeford, I think that's how you say it. I'm sorry if I butchered that. But there are claims of a murder-suicide at that lighthouse. So they go and they investigate the claims there. And the thing I really like about this book is that it is taken from both authors' perspectives. So you have Ron, he started off as a skeptic. The more he's been involved with the paranormal field, I think that he's gotten a little more pushed into the believer, category. But it goes from, his thoughts and what he sees, and it also goes from Maureen's perspective as a trance medium of what she experiences and sees when they go to these locations. So an absolutely fascinating book. I could not put it down when I started reading it. So definitely recommend you pick this up. Ron also has a podcast by the same name, so The Ghost Chronicles. You can find that on any major podcast network. But he has been working with the Ghost Chronicles podcast for years. I don't even know when that initially started, but I actually found out about the Ghost Chronicles podcast because he had brought Jeremy D'Entremont on. And if you don't know who Jeremy D'Entremont is, he is the modern day Lighthouse aficionado. He is the go-to person if you want to know anything about, especially about New England lighthouses, because he is top tier. But he also, keeps in the loop with all the major United States lighthouses, and he is just a wealth of knowledge. He is one of my heroes. I mean, for all in sense of the word, I know it's kind of silly, but I would absolutely adore meeting Jeremy D'Entremont because he just has been to so many beautiful locations. He is so knowledgeable about lighthouses history, lighthouse lore. So I found that episode where he had brought Jeremy on, and I've found since then that Jeremy's been actually quite a guest. He's been on many, many times talking about haunted locations, haunted lights, things like that. And Ron and him do a ghost tour on a boat every single year where they go out and go around to different lighthouses, and they talk about crazy, spooky events. So that's on my bucket list of things to do, is go on a cruise, a lighthouse cruise with Jeremy D'Entremont and Ron Kolick. So it's on the bucket list, and maybe after 2020 we can make it happen, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and move on to the movies recommendations. So again, with mummies, first movie off the bat, you probably would expect it from me, but it is the 1999 movie The Mummy, starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. Oh my god, this movie is so good. It's so stupid good. So it is, of course, kind of based off of the 1930s Mummy movie that had Boris Karloff in it. But it takes its own liberties, of course. And, we have the advantage of the advancements with technology and with movie magic. So it's just so good. If you've not seen this movie, I don't know what you're sleeping on. You definitely need to pick this up and check it out. I think that it's on, let me see, I think I saw that it was going to be on A&E maybe, and maybe Turner. I don't know. I can't remember the other one I saw it on, but it's on TV this time of the year. So just check your listings and see where it's going to be on. Or I think that you can probably find it streaming somewhere. I don't think it's on Netflix or Hulu, but I will have to check back and I will let you guys know in the comments below. But I think if anything, you should probably rent it. It's worth the $3.99 or whatever rental fee, or just downright buy it on like YouTube or any streaming network, because you won't be disappointed. It's such a great movie. They did a brilliant job of making you feel like you're right there with them in, the center of Egypt. So I absolutely love everything about this, dealing with curses, and the mummy is, Imhotep, and he has his love Anaxunamun, and they are cursed because she is already betrothed or married to the pharaoh, and so their love is forbidden, and they find out that they have been together when they shouldn't have, and they both are basically damned, and she is killed, and he has what's called the hung die performed on him, and so he is now cursed to be a walking plague if anybody, disrupts his tomb. And of course somebody's gonna come and disrupt his tomb, and who else but Brendan Fraser, because why not? It was the 90s and Brendan Fraser was like it. He was the guy, and I still absolutely love Brendan Fraser. I don't care what anyone says. He was in Encino Man. He was in Mrs. Winterbourne. Come on, he's so great. So check this movie out if you have not seen it. I think you will absolutely love it. I think anybody would enjoy this movie. I don't think I've ever met anybody who said that they did not find this movie insanely entertaining. So pick up and watch the 1999 movie The Mummy. I would never ever tell you to watch the new Mummy movie with Tom Cruise in it, because that was a absolute travesty. And I could have told you that the second they decided to cast Tom Cruise in the main character. But nobody listens to me, so they made it an action movie, and it should have been a horror movie. That's all I'm going to say. That's it. I'm done with that. Now, The Mummy went on to have sequels. The Mummy Returns came in 2001, and then they had The Mummy, The Curse of the Dragon Emperor. That one was in 2008, I believe. Yeah. And that one's not anything to really write home about. The awful CGI with the Scorpion King should be enough where nobody should ever watch that movie. It was so bad. Yet somehow it bred a spin-off for the Scorpion King that The Rock was in, that only he could save it because he was actually in it and they didn't have him be a weird CGI'd monster. But anyway, if you're going to watch any of those movies, definitely pick up the original, The Mummy from 1999. And I would say the, 30s version too, but I'm going to get on that one later in my series. So I don't want to touch too much more onto that one, but check out The Mummy. My second movie, you're going to probably laugh at me, and I don't care, man. This movie had such an effect on me when I was a kid. So the second movie is Under Wraps. So this was the first DCOM movie. So DCOM stands for Disney Channel Original Movie, and it came out in 1998, I think. I'm sorry, 1997. So it starred three kids, Marshall and Gilbert and Amy. And so they inadvertently stumble upon this sarcophagus and the mummy inside, because Amy's mom is a real estate agent and a gentleman has passed away. And so she's trying to get the house cleaned out to get the house on the market. So the kids are over there. They shouldn't be, but they are anyway. They go on down into the basement and they uncover the mummy. And of course, this mummy is not named something like Imhotep. He is called Harold. And he's so delightful. I absolutely love, love, love this movie. So if you have an opportunity, it's stupidly, for some reason, not being shown on Disney Plus. I don't know what they're waiting for to get it on there, but it is not available yet. I ended up just biting the bullet and I bought it on YouTube. I think it was like $6.99 or something like that. But now I've got it with me. I can, travel anywhere and watch Under Wraps if I want to. So it's a fabulous movie. I definitely recommend you check it out, especially if you've got kids. Your kids are going to absolutely love that movie. It really started the ball rolling with the DCOMs going forward. So they did one, I think, every single year in October. So they brought us The Scream Team. They brought us Don't Look Under the Bed, Can of Worms, My Mom's Got a Date with the Vampire. All of these fabulous movies. Phantom of the Megaplex, Girl versus Monster. They've kind of transitioned over the years, and they've got that Zombies movie that came out a couple years back. But anyway, I'm not a DCOM kid anymore. I'm obviously a 30-plus-year-old woman, so it's not my demographic anymore. But, in the 90s and early 2000s, I absolutely lived for it. Twitches and Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior and Halloween Town, guys. That's where Halloween Town came from, was the Disney Channel original movies. So much love for the Disney Channel original movies. So check out Under Wraps if you haven't seen it yet. It is extraordinary. So the last thing I want to talk about today is my pick for a TV show. And my TV show today is kind of a weird one just because they didn't even give us a full season of this show. It ran for 8 episodes, and they couldn't even give us the full 13 episode season. But I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was because it was showing at an odd time in the year. I think that it ran in June, so was not really a perfect time for a horror anthology series. But my pick is for Fear Itself. And Fear Itself came out in 2008 and was on NBC. And let me tell you what, this show has stuck with me ever since I saw it. It is absolutely incredible. So it, like I said, is an anthology series. So every single episode each week was different. The first episode that I saw was called Eater. Oh my God. So this episode starred Elizabeth Moss. She plays a rookie cop that just transferred into this small town station, and she's put on the night duty. And she's working with, some people. I was going to say good old boys, but I'd rather not say that. But they're definitely ignorant, racist, just pieces of crap, basically, cops that give her a really hard time on her first night at the station. And she finds out that they have recently brought in a not so savory person into the prison while she's working there. And he's been charged with eating a family, eating some women, and it's just really kind of the whole episode keeps you high anxiety the whole time. So you already know this guy is a serial killer and that he has been eating his victims. Okay. And then you bring on, there's a snowstorm going on, and everyone gets snowed in to the police station, the jail, whatever it is, prison, whatever. They're stuck at this place with this weird serial killer character, and you find out that he practices some kind of a voodoo or some kind of magic, and he's able to take on the form of people that he has eaten. So this woman, this character that Elizabeth Moss plays, has to not only deal with this guy, but deal with the fact that all of the other cops around her are disappearing, and he's taking over their persona. And it is just so scary because you don't know who is still a person and who has been eaten and who he's turned into. So it was so scary. And I remember I was home on break from college. I was with my mom, and I was in college, 2008, so I must have just been living at home at the time. And my mom and I watched this, and we both looked at each other like, what did we just watch? It was so scary. So of course I had to watch it every single day from there on out. So then the next episode was one called New Year's Day, and it deals with a zombie apocalypse, and you're following this girl along as she's dealing with the zombie apocalypse. And at the very end, you realize she has been a zombie the whole episode. You had no idea because people were afraid of her and running from her, and you couldn't figure out what the angle was. And then you find out at the end that she has also been changed into a zombie, and it was such a surprise. I'd never seen anything like that before. I just absolutely loved it. And there was another episode called In Sickness and in Health that starred James Roday and Maggie Lawson from the TV show Psych. So I already absolutely loved them, so I knew that this was going to be a good episode. But it's dealing with a woman and man who are scheduled to get married, and the woman's having second thoughts because somebody tells her that they think that the groom is actually a serial killer. So there's a weird twist on it. I'm not going to give you the ending on this one because I never saw this coming, but it's fabulous. And then the other episode I really want to talk to you about is called Skin and Bones, and it stars Doug Jones. So if you guys don't know who Doug Jones is, he is the absolutely extraordinary character actor who gave us creatures that Guillermo del Toro has put out. So the Fishman from The Shape of Water. He was Billy Butcherson in Hocus Pocus. He stars on the new CBS Star Trek series. He is such a prolific, wonderful character. He was in Hellboy. He played, I can't remember the character's name, the fish guy in that too, I think. But he he is such a good actor. He's such a kind person in real life. And I think that it's absolutely incredible watching him play this absolutely terrifying character. He plays a rancher who goes missing, and the family finds him, brings him home, and they realize that he is not the same old guy that he used to be, and that he has turned into a Wendigo. So, oh my god, the transitions in that episode were crazy. So creepy. You know, there's a scene where he's boiling and cooking a human, and like, I just, it was crazy. So the series used to run on Shudder, but Shudder took it off. And I was assuming it was because they were going to be putting it on NBC's Peacock app, but Peacock still hasn't shown it yet. So I don't know if they're waiting more towards Halloween or if we're going to get it, because I'm also still waiting for Crossing Jordan to come onto the Peacock network. I don't know. That whole thing really upsets me, because when they announced it, I kind of thought, okay, so all these shows I really like. There's another show called The River that I absolutely loved that was on ABC that I've been waiting for to come up somewhere. And then Crossing Jordan and Fear Itself were the other twos that I absolutely loved. And I thought, well, if NBC's got their own app, then it's definitely going to show up. So I'm still waiting. But anyway, so if you have the opportunity, like I said, I don't know if it's streaming anywhere else. You may have to just watch it on Amazon Prime. I think you can watch the individual episodes there, but it is so worth your time. I'm telling you, if you like scary stuff, you're going to absolutely flip for this. So again, it's called Fear Itself, and it was from NBC 2008, but I'm not entirely sure where you can watch it now. I tried to Google it, but I wasn't seeing anything to set in stone for places to watch it, but I hope that you find it, because it is so worth a view. So I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. Let's go with tomorrow's prompt. So tomorrow, I would like you guys to tell me about movies that are your childhood favorites that are live action. So no animated tales yet. I want all your favorite live action films. So I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you're all well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.